Hey everybody, waiting on got Adam coming in here. I see his pictures. I don't have. Oh, there he is. You there, Adam? Can't hear you. I'm not getting no audio. Hold on one sec. Can you hear me? I can't hear you at all. Your mic's mute. Oh, we lost Adam for a sec. He'll be back. A little bit of audio problems. Technology is always so much fun. I always have problems sometimes. Purpose of this tonight is kind of to bring awareness to some of us smaller channels, more so actually to Adam. And here he's back. Let's see if we can get him back in here. There he is. I think I got sound now.
Hello, bro. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah. Yeah, there
I hope
wasn't
you
no.
can hear me okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you good now. Yeah, we couldn't hear you a
I
minute ago.
apologize about that, everyone.
Hey, that's what I was just telling her. Technology is always fun sometimes, but yeah, that
I'm back.
not
I
gonna
went and put a community post up on the channel.
Yeah, I put a community post up too. My community posts don't really get a lot of time. So,
Well, hopefully now that we'll still get some people coming.
yay! Welcome everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? Hopefully, more blessed than stressed. Let me share this live a little bit here and.
Share it on file. I should have shared it on Facebook.
That's what I'm getting ready to do. Facebook and my Snapchat and stuff.
Have you got IG, Kev?
What's that?
Have you got IG?
I do not. What is that? I'm not familiar with that.
Instagram.
Oh yeah. I was pushed. People kept getting Instagram, and I started Instagram. I haven't done a lot with it because I mainly get junk. It's
Bro,
unwanted
I
solicitations
got
and
over
scammers.
3,000 followers.
Huh?
I got over 3,000 followers.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, I haven't done a whole lot now. TikTok, I haven't been on TikTok in a while. I'm on strike because they owe me money, and that, and they
But
take.
you are right, bro. There are a lot of scammers on Instagram.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Oh yeah, I want to donate $2,000 to your ministries, but it's going to cost you $39 or whatever. And like, yeah, no.
You know, one thing I keep on getting, I get messages from people asking me to join the Illuminati.
Yeah, I get that too. I get that on TikTok too.
You're gonna be rich, get $1 million, all this crap, and I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah,
Gonna be rich and famous.
yeah.
I don't want to be rich and famous. I'm happy the way I am. I'm happy the way God made me.
Amen. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've seen it a lot on Quora and a couple other spots that if you just got like rich all of a sudden, what would you do? And like, man, I could help so many people. I mean, I could
Yep.
probably never. I don't think I could ever be a millionaire because, for one, I'm pretty generous with money. You know, if somebody needs help, I've got it. You know, I try to help, and
Yeah.
that
You
of
know
course,
what?
then
Yeah, I would do the same thing. I'll give it to charities. Like to help sick kids and like ministries, and
yeah,
I'll be
yeah,
giving most of it to them.
for sure, and that's how I don't really.
Just the way I am.
Well, and that's how I am too, but that's how I prefer to tithe. I prefer to give the money directly to people that need it. Um, I do see the importance of donating to ministries and stuff like that. However, there's a
They
lot
need
of
it.
the
Yeah.
there's a lot of the pastors that are influential in my life don't need it, for one. For another, they're the type that would rather me help other people than send it to them.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I mean,
But what I meant
it,
by that is like ministries that I know of, they don't get no government assistance, so they can um,
yeah.
get all the equipment and things that they need.
Yeah, I don't. I 100% donations. I don't get any government funds or anything like that. And as a nonprofit, we don't qualify for a lot of that stuff. We don't even qualify for a lot of
Yeah.
loans and stuff because we're a nonprofit. We don't have a constant inflow income. So and
'Cause I want I mean like yeah, I want to help people in general too, but I want to mainly help the youth not make the same
yeah,
mistakes that I made, especially not to go through the fucking hell that I went through. Excuse my language. Um, and trying to because if they have a role model and someone to look up to, you know what I mean, they're not going to go down that
yeah.
road and start using drugs and mess their life up because you know what? That's all they need, someone to lean on. You know what I mean?
Well, well, and that's it. A lot of times they just need that guidance. There's no one around to give them guidance, and it's
Yep. And it matters what you say to them.
for sure. Well, yeah, when I deal with youth, I always try not to bash them or belittle them or something like that. More conversate. Hey, what's going on? What can we do to, you know, uh, that even with the youngsters I deal with around here at the youth group or whatever, it's more talk to them instead of um, like trying to belittle them or yell at them or anything like that,
Tell
and
them
give
what to
them
do.
real world examples of why, and the path it can lead them down and all that. And yeah, that
Yeah, well, because
for,
that's what they need is education. You know what I mean? They need to be educated about things.
well, and that's definitely 100%. I agree with that. There's so many that just they don't have parents in their life, and some have parents in their lives and don't appreciate them, and it's just
Yep. They
told
don't
the
realize
boys,
what until it's too late.
yeah. Well, I told the boys down the road, they got two good parents and stuff, and not everybody has that, and they should appreciate that, and that because there's a lot of kids that don't even have one parent that is there and cares. So it just to have two, it's a pretty amazing thing, and
Yep.
but it's that's the biggest thing, and that was the other thing with me. Albeit I want to go, still going back in and all that, volunteering in the prison system, but I don't want to just reduce recidivism. I want to like stop it before even someone even goes to that point. You know what I mean? And just
Before it gets
uh,
to
right,
that level, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. I would much rather change somebody's life to good before they go to prison than reduce recidivism later.
Yep.
That
Before they get into the drugs and all of that.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, and the kinds of drug, at least here in the United States right now, are just there's some with the fentanyl and
Yeah, that's out
some
of
of it.
control over here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. there's such an epidemic with the fentanyl on the streets. It's starting to hit the prisons now. Harvey said it's been in the prisons in Missouri for a while, but it's starting to hit the prisons here in
Wow.
Kansas, and
Fentanyl in the prison, that's, oh man.
yeah, yeah. That I'm hoping to trying to get a couple buddies talked into calling and going on lives and stuff like that. That's kind of neat how Harvey does it. I like that with the guys, and it would help guys on the inside too. I think because they get that direct. They hear the comments and stuff, and
Yep. And
it,
you know, you have the eye
morale
contact
builder.
too, like, you know.
Yeah, definitely a morale builder.
It
And
is, it is. Most definitely, bro. I agree.
well, and it was just man, I don't know if you're ever on Quora or not. I just kind of started
No,
messing with
I'm
it.
not.
And in fact, Harvey messaged me. He's like, I didn't know you were on Quora. I'm like, I just started. But man, that in a lot of the forums, some people asked some really, really good questions, and it's I've enjoyed I could almost do well. I definitely could do a couple videos a day just on Quora questions,
I'm
and
for it, yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know what? Time to time, I'll get emails, you know, from Quora because I used to be a
Mhm.
member on there. Um, and I remember this one where this chick was asking for advice, right? And she was saying like she's a landlord, and she's like so asking if is it all right to kick this guy out of the house because he's smoking weed. Um, and a lot of people were saying, look, think of it this way, you know, like he's not drinking, he's not being loud, he's not causing trouble. You know what I mean? And people
and
that
I
smoke
smoking
weed,
some weed and taking a nap.
yeah, well, that's what they were saying. They said, look, people that smoke weed are chilled. They lay, you know, they kick back and their appetite increases. They're not aggressive, you know, shit like that. Some really good
Yeah,
questions on there it was, and some really good answers on. I was pretty surprised, bro.
yeah. I've had a lot of like really, really good questions that some of them, man, I had to really think on, and it's like, yeah,
Because it's all different topics. Like,
yeah. Like I follow a lot of psychology. I follow a couple youth, um, with ask adults type, forums, and some psychology, some prison. Uh, Follow
yeah,
quite a family, parenting, stuff that's relevant to me, and ministries and stuff. And there's a
yep,
lot, and it's kind of neat to see some of the questions and some people's answers, and it some of them. It's like, would you write somebody in prison? I'm like, well, of course. Why wouldn't you write somebody in prison if you know somebody went to prison? And there was one lady that, man, it hit me. Her son is 20 years old and just got a 15-year sentence, and she was worried about him depression and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, that's a hard one. As a man to stick there and encourage, and you got to remind
yeah.
somebody they're not their mistakes, they're not their past, and that try to
20
use
years old
prison
and
as
got 15 years.
yeah, and try to use prison as a positive. And sadly, it is up to the convict or inmate, whatever, however you want to classify them, to change, because the system is not going to do it for you. And at
Yeah,
least in
exactly.
America, in the United
It's the
States,
same here.
and yeah, and say it's. I would love to see. I don't know if you've ever looked at Norwegian prisons,
Yeah, yes,
but
I have seen a few videos from them. Yep.
that should be all around the world. Their
That's amazing,
recidivism,
mate, you know.
their
Their prisons
recidivism
are like
rate is.
motels, and people don't come back to prison, like you were just saying.
Mhm. Well, and their recidivism rate is like 9%, something like that.
It's
It's
low, isn't it?
really, yeah, really, really low. United States, it's 62%, I think, nationwide. Kansas is
Wow.
like 38%.
38% in Kansas. Okay.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Huh? I mean, what they're doing in Norway, mate, but you know what? That's good because I think, the prisons, like a fucking motel, it's not even like a prison. And they educate them, they help them, they treat them with respect. You know what I mean?
well,
They do things to better them.
yeah, and it's like people. It's like I was talking to a couple legislators here in Kansas, and their biggest stumbling block, what they look at is Norway spends like $130,000 or something like that a year per inmate. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
where Kansas is like 32 or 33,000 a year per inmate. So,
Oh, yeah.
but with that extra $100,000 a year, you have shorter sentences. You're concentrating on rehabilitation, not housing, and so your your long term spending is going to be less because you got less people coming back into the system. And
Exactly. That's right.
It's common sense, and it's sometimes though legislators don't always. I'm hoping though California has started kind of adopting some of them practices. I'm curious to see how in Cali that
Oh, yeah.
one
Have
of the
they?
prison system. So it's crazy. As Eric was saying the other day that my internet's dipping. That he saw something was talking about like 80% or 85%, something like that, of California inmates were like a PC of some sort. There's like very little general population. It's
PC or FMY yards, huh? Like, they're everywhere.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Because I've seen some videos on there.
you got some rough individuals in the Cali prisons, man. I mean, not that there isn't in every prison, and
What?
that's what
I know.
I
Yeah,
always
well,
thought was
you got Pelican Bay,
yeah, yeah,
real rough prison. San Quentin.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I would hate to
yeah.
be locked
San
up there.
Quentin.
Yeah. I've done. Imagine that being locked up in San Quentin or Pelican Bay. No thanks.
No, I pass. I'll pass. You know what? That's what kills. I don't know how it is in Australia, but in Kansas, in fact, me and Eric were just talking about this the other day. It's funny how guys are like, "Oh, this state's so soft. I wish I was in a real prison." And no, you don't. Most of you
Yeah.
motherfuckers wouldn't be walking the yard. You don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, I wouldn't be walking the yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds good, but until someone's really
No.
there, those are a lot of those guys hadn't been to like Lansing behind the walls or Hutch behind the walls, and those are prisons, and El Dorado's back to pretty unrestful now too. But Lansing's a whole different world, especially the old Lansing. That was a war zone, and
That's all level 4, eh?
well, that was what they got. We have max, medium, and minimum here, and
Oh, yeah.
and supermax, which they call special management. Anytime you're in segregation for any reason, they call it special management. But and then of course,
Well, that's similar to here. How you doing? Because we have minimum, medium, maximum, and then supermax, which is in Goulburn.
Yeah. So we have a El Dorado is supposed to have been a supermax, and they built that new prison in Lansing, and they were supposed to be, when I was in Lansing 2 years ago, right before I got out, they were supposed to be moving all the long-term seg and all the death row guys up to Lansing because that's where the death chamber's at. And
yeah.
But I don't think they have. I know Dennis Rader at BTK, he's still in El Dorado because I just sent him a letter trying to get him to do an interview.
Yeah. It's a rough prison, eh? Lansing's a rough prison because I think I've heard of that name like a few times.
Yeah.
It pops off.
Yeah, it's a very violent place. They're on lockdown now. They've been on lockdown for a month. They had
Oh,
another riot, and visitations are
popped off again.
canceled till April sometime, and it's crazy. They're just and DOC's
Kansas
not thinking.
sounds pretty similar to here.
Oh yeah, yeah. It yeah. Kansas is. I mean, it's got its pluses and minuses. You know, you always got your guards and stuff that were picked on as kids and shoved in lockers, and so they get a job as a cop in a prison to come pick on people. But you know, you
Mm.
always have those too that care, and I don't know. In Kansas, it seems like we have more on the side of the idiots that think you're all a piece of crap, prisoners. You can't change. You'll always be that way.
You got that
That's a big
mentality, yeah.
mindset. Yeah, that's a big mindset in Kansas, and I can't remember who made the quote. It was a Jewish guy in a concentration camp. I remember that, but it's like if you treat somebody as they are, they will always remain the same. So basically,
Oh yeah.
if I treat you like a criminal and like a dog, you're going to be, that. And I know dog means a different thing in
You gotta be
Australia too. But I treat you crappy, and well, that's
Mate, it's
bad
gonna
with
bring
America,
out the beast in the guy, you know what I mean? And fucking
right?
it's gonna be all bad.
Right. Well, right, and there is no support upon release. You know, a lot of times, even in preparation for release, they're lacking in a lot of ways, and I don't know.
It's exactly the same way here. Like you do your sentence, however long you've done, and say like you get out on parole, right? You'll get this chick coming to see you to talk about parole, signing your papers, everything like that. But
Mhm.
there's no mention of housing. You know, have you got somewhere to live? Do you need this or need that? You know, it's none
Well,
of that.
see here, you have to have an approved place. If you don't have somewhere that parole will approve, then you have to go out and be homeless or go into a shelter. Now, here's the trick in Kansas. Here's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So, say someone is from like my area. There is
Right.
no homeless shelters in Anderson County. Not one homeless shelter in Anderson County. So
Well,
if
that's
someone
crazy, bro.
releases here homeless, they are homeless. And we have a lot
Yeah,
of wild
for real.
animals. We have bobcats, we have mountain lions, we have bears supposedly coming into
There's
this part of the state. We got
so
some
they don't want to
raccoons of it.
oh, raccoons will fuck you up. Them raccoons are vicious. The ones you got over there.
Did you see that video of Lita with that one in the backyard a while back?
Yes, I've seen that. Yep,
Yeah,
I watched it
yeah.
first.
I let her play with him for a while, but I started seeing that coon started to get mad, and I thought he was going to end up biting her, and I didn't want my dog hurt. So, and I didn't really want her to hurt the coon either,
Yeah, well,
because she was
exactly.
trying to play.
That's right. You know, you didn't want the
At
dog. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
she was trying to play, and then she started getting serious after that coon tried to get a hold of her, and he kind of scratched her nose a little bit, but so it pissed her off, and I saw that demeanor change. I'm like, no. But
I was
thankfully
thinking
she's
to myself,
trained.
I was thinking to myself that this is going to be all bad in a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get the dog and get it away from the raccoon because it looks like it's going to bite your fucking dog.
But, yeah. What? Well, and raccoons can actually kill a dog, crazy enough. But
they're big, like it's crazy because the ones you got over there, Kev, they're big, buddy. You know, fucking
that was
ugly looking possums.
That was actually a smaller raccoon out here in this area.
It's crazy. That was actually small. Imagine if it was a bigger one. That would have been even worse.
Yeah, we got some really good, some good sized wildlife out here. But
that's what I was going to say. In Kansas, you got everything: bobcats, bears, everything.
Well, and our weather is so extreme, especially like where I live in Kansas. They say we hit some of the most extreme temperatures. We get that 100 and something degree heat in the summer. We get the below zero temperatures in the winter. We get the wind. We get the rain, the snow,
Wow.
the tornadoes. We get all that. And
You get
so,
tornadoes in Kansas.
oh yeah, we're in Tornado Alley. We haven't had any bad tornadoes in several years, which usually isn't a good thing because that usually means we're going to have a year with some bad ones. And I pray that we don't, because
I pray it doesn't happen too.
terrible. We're kind of lucky where I live. We're in a valley, and there's a lot of water and stuff, so we don't get. I mean, they've been around here, but I don't know that one's ever hit in town.
Oh yeah.
Let me knock on. Lord, I didn't mean to jinx it. Don't
knock on wood.
But anyway, but
yeah,
if you're
Tornado Alley.
And if you're released though in this area,
you've
got nothing. I mean, the resources and stuff are few and far between, as far as, you don't have the resources you would have in a bigger city. And the way the policy is written in Kansas, if you don't have an approved place to live, you have to release to the county you fell out of. So basically, you committed your crime in.
Yeah.
If you have nothing in that county, but even if you have something in that county, but it's all your negative influences that you were getting high with or whatever, smoking dope with, the meth or whatever. Now you're right back out in the middle of that crap, and your chances of success are almost zero, because I've been clean now for 7 years, and there's still days, Adam, that if it was around, I get them days just to, screw everything. And if it was there, I'd probably,
I know what you mean, bro.
So I stay away from it. I know myself, and I know, and it, but I mean, some people don't have that choice. And, I don't know. I know the system's very, very lacking in a lot of ways. And in Kansas, we do have it a lot better than some states. Our recidivism rate is lower than a lot of states, but still there's more that can be done. And
it could be a lot better. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, when me and Eric were president of the JCs there in El Dorado, it's a self-help group, and they're international. The JCs is an international organization, but they have prison chapters, and we actually argued for the fact it was actually a rule in Kansas that, say we're in prison together and you get out, I can't talk to you. That was a rule. Even if we both got out on parole the same day, we're not supposed to talk. We're not supposed to live in the same house. I mean,
it's funny you should say that, bro, because it's illegal. You can get arrested.
See, I don't agree with that.
They've passed a law. It's called consorting.
But here's the thing, Adam. Some people don't have anybody on the streets. Not everybody you meet in prison is going to be negative. Some people are positive influences in your life. Like, look at me. Me and Eric are not biological brothers. We met in prison, and
you became like brothers.
Well, yeah, he is my brother. I mean, he's more of a brother than anything else. That's most loyal person ever. And
that's why I've said too, Kev. I've told on my videos many times. There's some guys that I've met in prison that are real good guys. They just made mistakes. They fucked up. You know what I mean? And but you don't. There is some people that deserve to be in there, but
for sure. But prison's full of good people that have made bad mistakes.
That's exactly what I said on my video. Yep.
Yeah, and
we're all human. We all make mistakes. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And some of us worse than others. And, and it's not about how you fall and stumble. It's about how you get up, and make that change in your life. It just,
well, it can be done. I mean, look at you, look at me. I mean, I've done it all on my own. I've done everything on my own since I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fucking into shit again. But it is what it is.
Definitely.
I'm free. I'm above ground. So yeah.
Yeah. that's well. Let me ask you this, Adam. And this would be a good. So one of the questions talking about Quora, one of the questions, and I hadn't answered it because I really don't know. So would you rather be homeless and hungry or go back to prison? And I'm like, man, that's a rough one because for me, I'm a sissy when it comes to the cold. So if it's cold out, I'd probably rather go to prison where it's warm. But um, that'd be hard on the hunger part, though. It just,
You
I
know
mean,
what,
the
bro?
body has. What's that?
Homeless. I mean, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I'm homeless now, but fucking, I would rather be homeless than hungry. You know? I'm never going back to prison. I don't give a shit what happens. I'm never going back.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I guess my mindset is so that I won't let myself get into that position, but um, it unless I just wanted to.
That's right.
I would love to kind of go out and live in the woods in a lot of ways, but although I argue with technology, I like it a lot. I'm on my phone or whatever quite a bit, and
Well, you
hey,
know, I
Jimmy.
mean, you know something. Someone's asked me that before. You know, would I rather be homeless, hungry, or go to prison? And I'm like, yeah, screw prison. I would rather be home because you know what? I've always been the kind of person that I can adapt. I can adapt
Well,
anywhere. I can adapt to any situation.
and that's the way with me, and
The
that's why I
cold, I
tell
love the
people all
cold. I love
the time
winter.
if if you can adapt to a situation, it makes prison a whole lot easier. That's for sure. Because man, it those guys that sit there and constantly they're on the outside. Their mind's on the outside. Well, they're in prison. That is such hard time, and
It is. It is
I don't.
very hard time.
I had to like
I never
separate
gave
my.
the outside world a second thought when I was in prison.
I talk to my kids regular and stuff like that, but at the same time, that was on a phone call. I would treat it no different than like now. I mean, all my kids live in Wichita, so they're 3 hours
Wichita.
away
Yeah.
from me, and
I've heard of Wichita.
yeah, so see my kids, and
That's
it's
cool.
shrinking, but it since Boeing's not there anymore, they're going down in population. Um,
But
but
that's hard if in prison you got kids and you got a missus on the outside. That's hard. But me, I didn't
yeah,
have anyone, so you know I was able to
uh,
focus on what I was doing
man,
and
I'll
not
tell
what
you,
I didn't care what was going on beyond the walls.
yeah, and that's kind of where I was. I talked to my kids and stuff, but especially like my most of my time in El Dorado. Well, for 5 years, I was the president of the JC. That was a $120,000 a year, $140,000 a year, small corporation, nonprofit corporation inside a prison system, and
Yeah.
I stayed very busy. And so there was times that I would, hey,
Yeah.
can you not come visit this weekend? I got to work the food stand or whatever, and as a board member, I had to if they needed someone out at the food stand, I had to go out there and help. And we
Well,
had
there,
people.
yeah.
So so we had this guy. He was a board member too. Okay, so he tried
Okay.
to smuggle in him and somebody we never did find out who he conspired with. It was somebody with one of the other groups, and I'm not going to put the group out there because it wasn't the group involved,
Yeah,
and
don't need
the
to. Yeah.
the JCs did no way condone any of this action or were we involved, but this was
Mm.
the actions of one of our board members. So in December they have banquets for the different self-help groups and stuff, and the other big group in El Dorado had their banquet a couple days prior to ours.
Yeah.
Well, we had the food stand out there in visitation, and our groups were so large, we used visitation and we allowed them to use our food stand facilities.
Mhm.
because we
Okay.
had some of their guys worked our food stand too, and were some of our members too. They were members of both groups. But anyway, so this idiot that's a board member of mine, me and Eric are just chilling in the cell. It's a Sunday. We decided we weren't doing shit that day. We were watching football or something,
Mhm.
and we're laying there, and dude comes to our cell and's like, "Hey man, you might want to go out to the food stand. There's a major shaking going on out there. Dude just got busted trying to bring in some K2."
Oh, what?
Oh, so check this out, Adam. They
Damn.
had these balloons like green pepper size, bell pepper size
Yeah.
balloons full of this K2, and they put it in a liquid chili. Okay, what happens when you put a balloon in liquid? It floats. So the
That's
cops
right.
open the lid on this pan this dude's trying to walk out with, and there is the balloons full of K2.
Unbelievable.
So we almost got
Busted.
shut. Our whole organization almost got shut down over that. There was an intense,
Hey,
me and
too.
Eric.
Like that bad
Oh,
shit.
me and Eric and several of my board members were grilled by EAI, and several, thinking we were orchestrating stuff. And
Yeah, because that would have brought a lot of heat on all years.
oh yeah. So then it came down for, I think it was almost a month, that only board members could work the food stand.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And only approved. And I had a couple board members that couldn't work the food stand because they had a sex case or something that didn't allow them to work visitation. And so
Good.
we were down. There was like 4 of us to do the work of 7, and we were the
What?
only ones for that whole month. And
Damn.
Eric hated that food stand, but you
But
get
you
some
don't
rude
pay
people
very
over
much
there.
at all, do you? Like with the jobs in prison, you get like 25 cents or, it's ridiculous.
Well, all the JC stuff, that was all volunteer. We didn't get paid for none of that. The food stand, you'd get what we call it a gratuity, basically a tip of $5 at cost of food. We raised it to $6.50 before I had got transferred out, but and that was a decent amount of food it cost, because we got some really good food at decent prices too. And
That's good you did
unfortunately,
that, volunteering.
it's a shame, James. It just we into January. Yeah, January of 2015, we're in the final stages of a brand new food stand. I got mostly donated, like a 60 something $1,000 set. We completely moved it, completely set everything up, and now it's closed because guys have lost it. They through nefarious action with drugs and stuff like that, and it
Yeah,
now
they shut it
people
down.
got to eat out of a vending machine.
Yeah. But you know something? It's crazy because the vending machines, you guys are allowed to go and fucking get what you want from, use the vending machine. Here, we're not allowed to go anywhere near the vending machine. We're not allowed to touch it or nothing.
Well, see, in some facilities you can't. It has to be, you're not supposed to handle the tokens or the money or whatever your visitor is supposed to. And well, in all the facilities,
They
you're
bring in
never
the
supposed to
coins.
handle. Huh?
They
Even
bring
the
in
coins. Yeah.
coins. $20 worth of
See,
coins. Gold coins.
now, yeah. See, there is no limit on how much visitors can bring in here, but back in the day, in the 90s, in the minimums, you used to be able to have $10 worth of quarters on you. You could get when you got your store. You could get every week. You could get roll of quarters, and they had vending machines on the unit. And but they've taken them out of the minimums and stuff now. But
because people do shit, and they get busted and fucks everything up, and they're just like fuck it, and they take everything away. Well, the privileges.
Man, El Dorado lost a lot in all those riots. That was they had a really neat band room. Me and Eric had got a whole bunch of equipment we had bought for that room and donated and stuff. Some really nice Schecter guitars, and we redid all the
Wow.
drums. We, and
That's cool that you guys did that. Fucking hell,
they've
yeah.
lost it, and they're trying to get it
It's
back
all for
now
nothing
because,
because it's gone.
man, I tried calling the facility because I'm like, hey, if you guys aren't going to be using them guitars, me and Eric, got them. We'd like to have them, even if we got to buy them,
No, she didn't have to buy them. She give it to you.
Well, I agree, but technically we would have to purchase them legally because their property, the JCs had bought them, and the JCs is a 501c3 nonprofit, so they can't just give away the JC's property. And just to me or Eric would be unethical because we're past board members, and so we would want to pay.
They wouldn't have them if it wasn't for you guys. So you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, we donated them, so it was, we donated the money and got them and donated them to the deal. So
yeah.
Did
Yeah.
Jimmy wants to know if you had any programs in Australia, prisons and jails for music.
Yeah. Yes. But that was only in the in the minimum prisons. They've got music classes, and guys can take their guitar back to the wing. You know what I mean? Any musical instrument. It had programs like that. Once we had it in Goulburn, where we had like music classes for learning to play the guitar or the drums.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they do some,
but only in the minimums.
In the minimums, mainly in the minimums. Yeah, that's where all that stuff is. They have a lot of programs for music. Where you can learn how to play instrument like guitar, the drums, anything like that. Also, sometimes, you'll play, like they'll have these like bands come together from other prisons and have competitions.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we didn't get nothing like that in the maximum.
Yeah, see, in Kansas, we have huts. There's no music rooms. There probably is in the minimum or the medium. I mean, there's guitars on the yard, like acoustic guitars, nylon string acoustic guitars. But El Dorado had a very nice music room. Hopefully it'll get opened back up. Lansing had even recording capabilities, which yeah, and I haven't seen the new music room in the new Lansing. It's when I was there, COVID was rampant and all that, so there was no movement. We were on lockdown all the time, pretty much. So on quarantine.
Quarantine, yeah, put you on quarantine. But
we were supposed to wear masks everywhere, but the cops didn't have to.
Yeah, of course they didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you're the one going to bring it to us, It's
typical.
Of all people, you should probably have the mask on.
Yeah, they should, because they're coming from the outside world, where it is. It's not in prison unless they bring it in.
Yeah. So what kind of like active programs other than music do they have in Australian prisons? They have any like organized sports and stuff like that?
Yeah, they have rugby league teams. A sport called rugby league. They have.
I'm throwing my hands up not because you have rugby league, but I tried to get. You familiar with kickball?
Kickball? No, I don't know what that is.
So it's kind of like a baseball field, and you got this really soft, fluffy rubber ball. I mean, like one of them super soft, you can throw at somebody as hard as you can and it won't even sting type ball. And so you have a pitcher like baseball. They you roll the ball, whatever, and you, instead of a bat, you kick the ball and you run the bases. A lot of the rules same like baseball, with the exception of they throw the ball at you, hit you like dodgeball for an out. We couldn't get that approved because they're afraid fights were going to ensue because somebody get hit with the ball wrong or something like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Would
Well,
have
they
been
had
on
a
for sure.
they had a major fight over a soccer game. They banned soccer in El Dorado forever because there was a major fight. Dude got one of the cymbal stands in the band room, went into the band room to fight, and he got all the way through his lungs and shoulder and everything and almost killed him. But
Damn, that's crazy.
yeah, so
You know,
they banned soccer because it was too violent.
soccer too violent. That's funny. That's hilarious, But soccer here. Thank God you call it soccer. A lot of people call it football. That's ridiculous. It's not football. It's soccer. But the main sport that's the most popular here in Australia is there's a local competition called the NRL, which stands for National Rugby League.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like rugby league is the main popular sport, and then you've got rugby union, which is the second most popular, and then you've got another sport called Australian Football League, AFL.
So did you guys
We have soccer
you
teams,
had the
but
rug? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
rugby,
catch up that. Yeah, so you guys
rugby.
had rugby, and what else? Did you have anything else or?
Yeah, we got rugby league, we got rugby union, AFL, we got soccer, we got soccer leagues. We got now, what's starting to spring up now? There's a few Australian in Sydney AFL teams and NFL teams. There's maybe like 5 NFL teams that have started up.
Yeah.
They all wear pads, and same as you guys do over there. Another sport that I would say is the most popular here would be swimming, followed by tennis. Tennis is really,
Is
really
what?
popular here. Tennis and swimming.
Yeah. Tennis. I'll tell you what. If you think you're young, go play some tennis.
You got to be fit to
That'll
play
wear
that,
your
Kev.
ass out. Yeah. I always used to laugh at the old people playing tennis. I went out and tried to play it one time. I didn't get a whole game in. What the heck with this game? It's way more
You know
running and
what?
all that than this old man's trying to do.
Oh, yeah, you do. Way more running in tennis, I used to love watching Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer play together. Like that was some
Mhm.
epic matches.
Yeah. I used to watch
I'm not a
Johnny Mac.
mad tennis fan, but I like a little bit.
I used to watch John McEnroe for see the temper tantrums.
Yeah,
He was
he
always
always used to throw the
entertaining.
tantrum.
I was just waiting on him to just take off and just start punching somebody one day and just
Oh
going
yeah,
nuts. But
he was
yeah,
always
it's
getting in the umpire's face, and oh yeah, he was a live wire, wasn't he? Yeah, McEnroe.
yeah, for
He's a
sure.
character.
So what do
But
they have like any type of like art rooms or anything like that in Australia in the prisons?
art rooms, the only art rooms I got is for the Aboriginals, the Aboriginal people. They go in there and what it's called Koori art. That's what it's called. And you know something? Every single painting that they do tells a story. Every single painting.
That's cool.
It's beautiful work too.
Yeah, I like a lot of that art that tells stories and stuff, like the old Egyptian hieroglyphics and stuff and some of the Aborigine stuff. They've got some actually there's some hieroglyphics and stuff from the Aborigines people that I saw not too long ago, but really cool. But
yeah, well, in the prison systems, they've got art classes for you have to be Indigenous, you have to be Aboriginal to go to it. Mate, it's amazing the shit that they used to do. Sometimes they used to donate it, the funds. They used to sell it and donate the funds to charity. They were doing a lot of good things.
so now, like in
But
Kansas,
Goulburn, you get. I'll tell you what, you're getting big fat zero.
Huh. See, like in Kansas, at some prisons, you could even sell artwork and stuff to guards.
You
I
tell it to
don't
the
know.
guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely not allowed here. No
That
way, that would never happen.
Eric made a couple different for a couple officers, but one our boss, that was electrician boss, he brought in the gold and the diamonds and stuff. But he had purchased the stuff. He got special permission because we were allowed 100 to order $150 a month, but you could only have like $300 worth of hobbycraft stuff. Well, me and Eric did jewelry and we did precious metals. We only did silver and gold. We didn't do cosmetic jewelry. So all the
Yeah.
stones and the precious stones, the semi-precious stones, the gold, the silver, it was costly. And well, this set in particular was just tremendously beautiful. And but yeah, it was like $1,000 that Eric had sold that set for, and
Wow.
to one
That's
of our
cool.
bosses. But yeah, I used to draw for cops all the time, portraits and stuff. And of course, they paid more than one of the homies, or even somebody I didn't like that was an inmate. That, but still, they bought art. Then Ellsworth, you could sell it to the cop, but you could also put it out in the visitation area and sell your artwork and to the
Oh, yeah.
public. And a
Wow.
percentage went to the spiritual life center. But
Oh, yeah. Okay.
yeah, and so that was really cool. And that's kind of something I've wanted to start actually helping guys with their artwork. I thought about doing that, some kind of set up a site and do some consignment and help guys, sell their work.
Well,
Because
you
there's
know
some,
what, Kev? Here you've got guys who, like they make Valentine's cards or Christmas cards or birthday cards, for people. They draw stuff, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And they sell it to inmates and they send it out to their family, which is pretty cool. But as far as the guards go, no, it's only amongst the inmates.
Oh, you can set. That's the one I'm working on right now.
Oh, yeah? Lion. What's the end of it?
Yeah,
What's else?
the other side's going to be Jesus.
Jesus, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Wow. You know what? I love
but
how it's different. It's, you got one side is a lion, you got, something different on the other side. I like
yeah.
that.
Well, the Jesus portrait's actually going to be the easiest part of that picture. I can't wait to get done with the lion because it's easy sailing from there. The portrait will take about 20 minutes. That lion I've got about 6 hours into right now. But
You've got a talent. You've got a talent, Kev. I'm not just saying that either.
and see, I don't know. It's like the guy the other day was like, I can sell you. Like, man, I don't know if my stuff's good enough to be sold, but I keep getting people that do. But I don't know. It's like I was telling Eric earlier. I said people got to realize the caliber of artists that we were around in prison. Man, we got a buddy
Some
that
good ones,
we got a buddy that does portraits so good. He airbrushed a portrait in color, with an airbrush.
Airbrush,
And
yep.
it was on a big canvas, like it had been like life, so looked like a person, but he had it propped up. He was Max, so he was in a 2-man cell by himself.
Cool.
The top bunk is empty, like he could put storage and stuff. He had this picture propped up, and it looked like somebody was sitting there. It fouled count.
Oh, what?
They counted the picture as a person several times until they come around
That's
doing
funny.
until they come doing a standing ID count, where everybody's got to stand there with their ID and they walk around and, with the roster.
And only then they realize
and then
it's not a real person.
Well, yeah, they were yelling at the homie. They're like, he needs to get off the bunk and bring his ID. And he said, he who? I'm here by myself. He said, ain't no he there. And he's like, who's that dude up there? And he said, it's a picture. And he went up and grabbed it. And the cop was just, oh,
he would have felt like an idiot, Kev.
Well, it wasn't even, the bad part is originally it was the one cop and the sergeant, because it's just usually a CO1, which is our like peons here, and then a sergeant. They would go for count. And ended up after they walked through, there was, of course, other officers that joined to come count because their count's off. So you got other officers coming from other units and captains and everything and coming and walking and counting, and they're getting the same count. Nobody bothered to look at officer and be like, hey, wait a minute. There's not supposed to be someone in this cell besides, this guy. And,
no one ever realized that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one's supposed to be in there with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, man. But, well, at that time, the Maxes, they had Max guys in the medium cell houses, but they just had a single cell instead of had a cellie. So,
oh, yeah.
Now even our Supermax guys in Kansas have cellies.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, 23/7 lockdown with a cellie. It better be the right cellie.
Well, that's right. It has to be. You've got to be compatible with that cellie because you're in there 24/7. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I couldn't imagine it. I've had some cellies that I didn't know if I was going to make it out without a new case. It just the last cellie I had was probably the weirdest person and my hardest time I've ever had in prison. I like at the very end of my sentence. I'm on a parole violation, and I've literally got my parole violation in less than 30 days after that, and I'm off parole.
Oh, well.
They put me in with this dude who not only did he have a really bad case, he had a really bad case with his nieces and everything like that, and would try to justify it in several ways. I'm like, well, I don't even want to hear about your stuff. I don't want to hear about, and
right.
And then he got offended because I found out that he was a weirdo, and I put all my grandkids' pictures and stuff up. And he's like, what'd you do that for?
Shit.
Because I'm not going to catch a case because you're looking at that picture wrong. That's
right.
That's why I did that. You're a weirdo, and you're not going to be looking at my family, and that, and I hate to be like that, but I mean, it's just.
He's lucky he didn't take off on him right there, for doing that. That's messed up.
Man, it just, and it wasn't even, that was bad night. Well, and he was picked on for a long time until they put me in his cell, and the guys left him alone because I was in the cell, and out of respect for me. And I'm like, like, dude's weird. I'm not protecting him. I don't, I really don't want my stuff.
Kev, about being, thrown in fucking prison. You get thrown in with weirdos like that, and you don't have a damn choice.
That's how it is in United States too. You don't very rarely do you get to choose your cellie. I've had a few facilities that they would do that, but most you don't get to choose your cellie. You're stuck with whoever.
Yep, you're stuck with it, and you just got to deal with it. And what's fucked up too? Like they put some, weirdo in your cell, and something happens, you end up fucking hitting him, taking off on him, and next minute you know, your ass is in fucking the hole in the cigarette.
Man, I had one guy when I first got to El Dorado. There was an officer there that I knew from the streets. We partied together. I sold him some things. We'll just say that. But I got in there and he kind of freaked out. He's like, I don't know nothing. We don't even know each other, bro. I don't want these people to know like out there either. So. But anyway, he's like, Kev's an easygoing guy. They had this guy come in and he was all like, I don't know what he was like, perma-fried or something, dude. Something's wrong with him. And
you could say something wrong with him, yeah.
And they put him in a cell because like Kevin's a very easygoing person and easy to get along with, and a little more forgiving and accepting than some people. Well, this guy would like literally get up to go to the bathroom and he'd pee everywhere all over the seat, not wipe it, not do nothing, take a crap, not flush it.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you have got,
That's
I was starting to lose my patience. And that was the one time that was the one time I told the homies, I'm like, call me a rat or whatever, but this dude's got to get out of my house. And I told him, I said, you go tell the people you got to move today. No ands, ifs, or
No ifs or
buts.
buts or what? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you can't live there, and you can't live here, and you're not coming back in this cell. That's exactly what you tell them. And I'm not a tough guy. I'm not a badass, but man, I have my limits, and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I
that's
know. Hey,
just
we've all got our
that
limits. You know,
that's disrespect. That's just
major
disrespectful. You
disrespect.
don't.
How can you take a dump and not fucking flush or nothing like that? Like really? You know, you're supposed to
Yeah,
fucking flush every single time.
yeah. Plop, flush, plop, flush.
That's the way it
I don't care.
goes. You know?
I don't care if it's an empty threat. That flush it. Get some of that smell down. I don't want to smell it. Yeah,
As soon as the fucking
but
cannon hits the water, flush. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Every single time.
yeah, and it
That's the
just
major disrespect, Kev. I would have jumped up. I would have took off on him right there and then.
man, it was just all I could do, and it, like, man, and he didn't have nothing. That's in fact, that was the celly I had. Remember, I told you when I got to El Dorado about the stuff that I had in my shoe and all that, and I escaped a new charge. I had the weed and the tobacco in my shoe, and that dude was my celly, and he wanted to smoke. I let him hit one cigarette.
Yeah.
Half the cigarette was all slobbered up. He had
Oh,
all
what?
of them, like, yeah, he didn't hit another one. Like, yeah, no,
Fancy that.
you're done.
You need hit
Yeah,
cigarette and fucking slap a guy over it.
I handed it back to him. I said, "Well, that one's yours, and you better enjoy it because that's all you're getting. I'm not."
Yeah, well, you know
nothing.
what, Kev? You know, I'm sure you know, bro. He done it on purpose so he can have it the whole one to himself. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's quite a possibility. But like I said, this guy, you couldn't even have a conversation with him. He was just like permafrost. He was out there. I mean,
Yeah.
it
Space
was
cadet. We call them space cadets here.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot of those for sure. But yeah, so what was your worst celly?
My worst celly would have to be fuck. I've had a few, but the worst one I would have, I would have to say the one that snored like a freight train.
Yeah.
You know, they put this dude in my cell, and he was overweight. You know, he was overweight, and he was older than me. Kev, like at the time, I was in fuck probably like my mid-20s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he was in his 40s or something. But he snored like a freight train, mate. Like dead set. I could feel the whole bunk vibrating. The whole bunk would vibrate, you know what I mean? And I could feel it in snoring. I get woken up constantly, 3-4 fucking times a night.
See, I can deal with the
And-
snore. My dad is a horrible snorer, so I can block it.
But you know what? It was crazy because, I mean, if it was just like snoring like normal, right? That would have been like, it wouldn't have really bothered me because I would have just fucking put my head, you know, into fucking blankets. But
The super
it
snore,
was
huh?
really loud. Like it was like a fucking freight train was coming through the bloody cell.
Oh yeah, yeah. That,
You know,
that
and,
was,
and like I ended up taking off on him. I took off and, you know, like fucking, I had this tin of coffee, international roast tin of coffee, and I grabbed that and I smashed him up the side of the head with it. Got him out of the cell.
yeah.
Oh shit! I got 2% battery.
In Kansas, they if
I
you
got
hit
2% battery.
that's what they in Kansas. If you have a weapon, they automatically they charge you downtown. Whether it be a lock or soap or whatever. So I got a funny lock in the sock
If
when
my
I
phone
just thought,
dies, if you're talking to me and it dies, my phone's about to die.
oh man. Well, I guess we're about to end this one then. Guys, just because we end this live, please send some cash to Adam. He could really use some help right now. If you want to donate to the ministry, that's great. But
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you can, you know, and you want to donate, please also donate to Bastard the Bricks Ministries. He's a good dude. He deserves it. Thanks for having me on, bro. And we got to do this again real soon.
Adam, he lost it. Thank you guys for joining. I know it was kind of a lengthy, just kind of a back and forth this evening. It wasn't really a whole lot of like a topic talk, but I want to get Adam out there. If you guys haven't checked out Adam's channel, please do so at Aussie Jail Stories TV. Really good people. He's at like 989. If you don't know, 1K is the threshold to get monetized, to be able to get paid for content. He's not in it for the money. He's in it to help people. Same reason myself, but sometimes we just need that extra little help, and the man needs it. He's really good people. Thank you guys for joining us this evening. You guys are like the most amazing ever. It's been the Rev, Dr. Kev. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Stay blessed, and I am out.